Anyway, jam bands.
We love them.
We do love them. I have the Phish and the Grateful Dead channels and some other jam things all on my Sirius XM because I'm an old man. That's how I listen to music. Yeah. And if you don't have Sirius XM, I highly recommend it because it does cost money, but it forces you to listen to stuff outside of your little phone or the radios all night.
That is nice because, like, it's easy, and like Spotify, I get stuck in my own little echo chamber of like, I don't find new things.
But that's all. Let's get into these bands. Oh, click subscribe.
And like.
And the bell.
Don't forget the bell.
And just say nice things.
Yeah.
It makes Jonathan feel better about his self-esteem.
It's true. Very fragile.
So I am a self-proclaimed jam band fan, as are you.
Yeah.
Different jam bands, though.
Yeah, probably.
You like jam bands like Hanson and Firehouse.
Yeah. The greats.
I just want to pull Firehouse back out there.
Legendary greats.
I should love Firehouse. And like Slaughter, remember them?
I do remember Slaughter.
But anyway, no, you like more of the Southern rock jam bands.
Yeah,
And I like some of like the West Coast and the Vermont based, and
you do.
Some of the Southeast, getting the widespread a little bit. But,
I do like widespread a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's sort of that's where they all sort of meet.
Because Jimmy Herring is like a god among men.
But we want to talk about the instruments they use.
No.
And the instruments, maybe find like the one that all of us as mere mortals could use. Because,
So not a linguadoc.
Yeah. Let's get into linguadoc right off the bat, shall we?
Bam!
Bam. No, because like linguadoc's what, Trey plays from Phish.
Yeah.
And it's a phenomenal piece of art that is a guitar.
It's true.
And it's really, really expensive and almost nigh impossible to get.
It might be Baxter's, for you that don't know, it might be his bucket list, like, dream instrument.
Yeah, I would like to have a linguadoc.
Yes. Have you ever played one?
I've never played one.
Okay.
This is all. Well, it's just like everything about it fascinates me. Besides it being a Phish guitar, I like the hollow body construction.
Right. Because it's totally hollow, right?
No. It's a weird thing,
Yeah.
but I also like the scale lengths out of a Fender.
Cool.
On like not a Gibson scale length.
Yeah.
On a hollow body, I feel like that gives it this more percussive snap than a typical Gibson might do it.
Yeah.
I don't, and Trey plays like the Mesas, and he switches a little bit, but he was playing that same Mesa rig for decades.
Right.
But the linguadoc has become a huge part of his tone, but it's an unobtainium for most of us. And old Jerry out west played, the Wolf. And that's also a rare sort of boutique. It lives in that SG world, I guess, a little bit.
Kind of.
But not really. It just has that aesthetic.
Right. With the weird little curly horn things.
And then jumping into that, like, let's take it to the modern day of like, what John played when he played with Dead and Company. That PRS was not for the faint of heart or the thin of wallet.
Can a person just order one of those? Or was that like
I believe you can get something quite like that from the private stock.
Okay.
You can go hog wild and they'll figure out something, but it's going to cost a few dollars.
Because the biggest thing on that one, right? Obviously gorgeous wood and all that kind of stuff, but crazy pickup, like switching, right?
The switching.
Like lots of options, lots of out of phase and split and tapped and blah, 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 blah.
Well, that's in this sort of like, I'm just going to just earmark it as like the hippie jam band circuit, like, from Dead to Phish to widespread a bit. They do, not as much widespread, but yeah, a little bit. But they go for these sounds that they're not high overdrive all the time.
Nope.
It's a lot of clean with the Grateful Dead. It's a lot of clean with Phish as well. Like most of it's clean except for when he goes on those high screaming solos, and he's really just pushing a tube screamer.
Yeah.
Maybe a dual stack tube screamer with his Mesa, and that's all you need.
We're not talking like super saturated high gain. We're talking,
No, but they want those weird
clean.
out of phase sounds, and sort of like it's a very unique. You do get the phasers, that other weird pedal you mentioned,
like the Mutron, the Qtron things, the weird little filters.
Then like Jerry's like phase with the Ottawa all the time.
Which kind of awesome.
It's kind of awesome. It starts to drive you nuts after like just one song's good.
That's one of those pedals though that you like buy, and then you think you're like Jerry Garcia, and then your band has to be like, hey, like you can use that twice tonight. That's it.
Once
that's done
tonight, really, if you have it.
Twice.
No, but it's trying to get a lot of unique tones out of one instrument too,
right?
And not doing a lot of switching. This isn't the Joe Bonamassa set.
No, because totally different jam thing, right? Like I feel like if you're in Phish or you're in the Grateful Dead, and you're going on these sort of like sonic journeys, right? You almost have, when you listen to some of the songs, there's like these themes, right? And the sound sort of needs to change and transport you as the and you don't know where you're going to go. So it's nice to be able to just grab it and
when I look at those jam band guys are kind of like warriors. They're almost like knights or like a tank captain. Like, and they get on their horse with and they know that horse.
Yes.
And they know that suit of armor. And then, because they're not just playing like a 5-minute song where they can switch to the next tone, they're taking it on. They don't know where they're going. You know,
true.
And then you're going into battle.
It's a quest.
It's a quest. It's a journey, like Lord of the Rings.
I like this. This is getting
cool,
more
right?
fun.
You're going down the. No, it is. That's what these jam bands do a lot of times. Like Derek still doesn't understand them at all. He's like,
He hates them.
Like, why would you listen to songs that aren't songs? I mean, don't get me started.
Brother.
I'm on a Bjork kick hard right now too. Like, and if you haven't listened to the Hyper Ballad, it's one of her greatest hits. But if you haven't heard it, like, just go check it out. The Jules Holland version is one of my favorites because she's playing there like it's live, and she's so beautiful, and her voice is just shockingly raw and not auto-tuned and just amazing. And the emotion that comes from this little tiny Icelandic, like, I look at her as a warrior princess as well. I think of her like she would battle. God, and I watched an interview this morning with her, like, just talking about, this is the funniest thing. Sorry, sidetrack, but it's her being interviewed about Madonna because she wrote a song for Madonna, and she's like, in the interview's like, so did Madonna contact? She said, no, I don't know Madonna. And she's like, well, why do you do it? It's like, well, my friend asked me to write this song because he's writing a song for Madonna, and I just did it for a favor to my friend. I'm like, it just made me so happy. She has no awareness of like the press in a normal way, and just like of what you're supposed to say, and everything about that makes me happy. It's almost like watching a jam band when she talks, and when she performs, she is freeform, like Sigur Rós from Iceland as well, which is another. Do you listen to Sigur Rós at all?
No, but I love that you're like, your love for Bjork is like overflow. No, and like nothing you just said was in jest. Like, that was all serious.
This is how Baxter's
from Baxter's heart, and I love to you.
I know. No, because I love Icelandic music. I've never been to Iceland. It makes me sad.
I would like to go to Iceland.
I need to go. Do you want to go to Iceland sometime? Can we do like a Casino Guitars visits Iceland?
Why not?
If you're Icelandic, please let us know. Invite us. We'll come stay with you.
Host us. Yeah,
we'll stay at your house. We'll eat your food.
Yeah,
because I know it's expensive there. But
we'll film on location. It'll be great.
No, I do want. Flights are pretty cheap, I think, to Iceland, and you just pop to New York. It's not that far. But I've been a huge Sigur Rós and like fan ever since their first record. And like their jams are very inspiring to me. It's very sonic-scaped.
Yeah.
It lives in that My Morning Jacket world.
I like them. I think that's cool.
And I saw them live when Gary Clark Jr. was opening for him, and they just like destroyed the entire show.
Crushed it. Yeah,
crushed it. I was expecting Gary Clark just to rock it out. Like, I think they were all a little bit too high at the moment. And, and My Morning Jacket just came out, and they might have been too high, but they're used to it. They're professionals. They've been doing this for decades. Killed it.
That's how you separate them.
So go to the Southern Jam Band's guitars.
I mean, I think you get more into like the normal things, SGs and 335s and Les Pauls, but you do see, like we were talking about this earlier, you don't tend to see in the jam band stuff like guys switching 15 guitars. You know what I mean? I bring out my telly for this, and then my Strat comes out, and then nope, it tends to be. I think part of it is what you said, that one guitar that you know inside and out. You can grab the controls without thinking about it, and it's as quick as you thinking about as far as adjusting tones and things.
And I think too, the thing you don't see a lot in jam bands, now we can argue this, and there's a few, you can be like, oh, what about this and this and this, like Stratocasters. You don't see a lot of Strats and Tellys as much in the traditional jam bands.
There is one notable exception.
Are you going to talk about Leonard Skinner?
Nope.
Because
I don't think of them as a jam band.
Okay, wow, really? Okay, continue.
Humphreys McGee. Guy uses a Strat, or like Strat.
Yeah. That's a good one. Good one there. That one slipped my mind. That's probably the most. Because I'm a Strat player. Like, I would use one probably. That's my sort of jam band guitar. So what would your jam band guitar be?
Well, so I'm funny, right? Because that's what we do is when my trio plays. A very poor jam that we have. It's very mediocre, but that's what we do.
It's kind of like the paint your own pottery version.
It is. It's like by the numbers.
No, I wasn't even giving you that. I was just trying to see. It's like a third grader.
Like, oh, that's beautiful, honey. Good job.
Good job, Johnny. Go back to your she shed.
Mom, where are we gonna put it? Oh, well.
I dropped it.
Oh.
It's like when my tailor goes those like wine by design things and comes home with a painting.
Yes.
I'm like, that's gonna end up in the closet.
Right.
Continue. Sorry, I'm just kidding. The jam band's great.
I do like my Strat. So I have a Strat, I have a telly, I have a 335, and whatever I pick for that day, That's just what it is.
But I feel like you would play the 335 more if you weren't worried about taking it out, maybe.
Okay, so
Because that's a...
I have taken it out more. It comes down to, like, when I'm playing my Strat or my Telly, especially a Telly, I don't have to think about anything. You know, I'm playing the knobs, I'm turning knobs, and doing volume swells. No big deal. It is in my brain. The 335, I just hadn't gotten there yet.
Okay.
I don't know it as much.
I'm just worried you were worried
know what I mean?
about it a little bit too. Okay.
I mean, I do care, but I'm all about take guitars out and let them be
Which
free.
guitar do you think Bjork would use?
She'd use one of those like old Vox like organ guitars or something
I
strange.
know. Oh, I love it.
Electric sitar.
I always like to think of like if I was like going out on like a dinner like date with Bjork, like I'm like, Bjork, we're going out, and then she comes out in one of her outrageous outfits. I'm like, oh, Bjork.
There's literally a video of Bjork right off screen that we were watching before.
It just gives me
Baxter.
inspiration.
from later with Jules Holland. That's the most normal I think I've ever seen her look.
I pulled a bunch up this morning, like because I'm up early just to check out what Bjork's doing.
She is very,
But I love her and all
very
of her.
classy.
But she's a human version of a jam band.
That is not what I picture as Bjork.
And like I think she had a child with Matthew Barney, who's like one of like the most extreme like sort of avant-garde artists.
Okay.
I know this because I went to his show at, I think it was at the Guggenheim in New York when it was out. My dad went with me. He was visiting New York. There's a moment where it was like these like ceramic penises, like giant ones, like and like bees and stuff starts coming out of them. And my dad's like, what the? My dad, like, he went to University of Arkansas, and he's a, good old American football playing dude. Just didn't know what had happened to his children. He was very confused and sad.
I feel like he might think that a lot. As does my father.
Day at the Guggenheim.
As does my own father.
With Baxter and Dad.
I see those thoughts in his eyes.
But no, so going back to our actually root, because you're getting so distracted here, John.
God, I know. It's Bjork. It's Bjork. How can I work with Bjork right there?
I'll put up the funny pictures for our next video. No, it's what would you like think would be the most like reasonable guitar for like a modern jam band though, trying to get these sounds? It's tricky. I want to do Gretsch for a minute, but I'm not going to do Gretsch. It's just not going to get that over the hill push you need.
I mean, God, it might have to be PRS.
It's funny, right?
It is funny.
PRS is a possibility. A 335.
335
with
is
the
awesome.
push poles or something where you can split the coils.
Right.
I think might be an option.
I do think that something about the Gibson setup, being able to like, how when you can switch positions and you got a whole different volume tone setup, and that's easy to kind of work. That might be.
And like having the volume down on one a little bit so you can like pop and pull. I think that might. So if you're out there, if you're looking to do it on budget or on cheap, I think like some of the Epiphone options might be amazing.
Like those inspired by Gibson SGs and 335s.
Yeah, the 335 type style. And I think if you're in the PRS world, some of the hollow bodies.
Yep.
Phenomenal choice. You can go. I would go to McCarty 594. Would be the one I'd do.
That'd be pretty good. I don't know. I'm gonna say, since you're going there, I'm gonna go 335. 335.
Okay.
For the win.
If you want to get crazy, go 345.
What about amps? Seems to be more across the.
Well, I mean, I think the amps keep changing all over the place. I'm still curious. I haven't played the new Line 6. I hear those are wonderful. The new modeling ones.
Because they're not really modeling. They're like Katana on steroids.
Yeah, they're like the Kemper cheapy, sort of like that's because like all that stuff's so confusing and expensive. Yeah, but that's an interesting idea. But like, let's say we're getting the tube amp world. I think Mesa Boogie might be an option. I would look hard at like a Mesa Boogie Lone Star or some of the other things that can kind of give you all the great cleans with a little bit of that mid-range boost, and then you can take you to the overdrive without much pedals, and it has reverb built into it. It has lots of knobs too, so you can feel like you're jamming when you try to turn the volume up.
Or maybe you just need a Tone Master Super Reverb. Channel your inner Derek Trucks, Warren Haynes, Marcus King.
I don't know. Yeah, or just get like a vintage like super reverb too.
Yep.
That'd be cool. But no,
I thought we were being
realistic,
affordable.
I think Mesa Boogie might have it. Like I'd look at Mesa Boogie.
All right.
It's I mean Two-Rock obviously, but that's just not. You've already jumped the ship. I think Magnatone could maybe live in some of that. Maybe.
I think so. Pretty. I mean, it's funny because part of the joy of jam bandness, right, is it's not so much like I gotta have this weird cover set and I gotta nail all these tones.
Yes.
It's finding your own tone. The wonderful thing about whether it is, the Grateful Dead or Phish or whatever, they sort of have their own quirky thing, and you just make that work, and it's what inspires you because you're trying to go on these weird sonic quests, as we
And
described.
sometimes whatever you have sort of
thing.
helps drive the ship a little
man.
bit too. Because I've done it with a red knob Fender.
Yep.
I've done it with an orange rock reverb in my jam bands. It's all sorts of cool things, and each one gave me a different paintbrush to paint with.
It's true.
And I enjoy it. So we'd love to hear what you think is the right setup for a modern day jam band, and go have fun with it. Like create one it's like that's under X amount of dollars, because you can do one for under $2,000 maybe. I think 2 is like the new $1,000. I feel like that's the new. It's like
Just like gas. $200 a barrel is the new $100 a barrel. It's great.
and then go a little bit hog wild. Be like you got $10,000 for your rig.
No.
I mean, the
A
sad
modest
thing,
rig. That's your medium rig.
The sad thing that's a realistic rig now in this boutique world. It's no jokes. Because
I
the
don't even
guitar
wanna
might
think
be
about it.
there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the guitar alone. But let's just say no, don't go. You can't. No, Languedocs don't. Then go the Dreams rig. When you got your $20,000 Languedoc, and you got your
What's
crazy
I
whatever.
gotta ask one more. This is late. This
late
is
in the game. So you're not
yes.
even here, probably.
Pedals for the jam band rig or no?
Yeah, I think you can have pedals. I think you gotta have a tube screamer.
I think you can have some pedals.
A tube screamer, maybe a little bit of delay.
Your weird little mooger fooger.
Yeah, just something a little bit. That sounds
Those are
like
great.
something your parents like. Don't say that.
That's probably true.
That's it. Take me
All
home,
right.
Johnny. That's all I got to say.
We already did the other
I'm
bit
just
at
saying,
the
take me
beginning.
home anyway. Say something cool.
Hey.
Something cool.
Have a fantastic day.
Get it?
Be kind to yourself and each other. We should start doing that at the Jerry Springer.
God bless Bjork.
Yeah.
Always.
Thanks for hanging out with us. See you next time.